loss of our consciousness, of our awareness, is terrifying. But life is more than just fear and goals. I think Eastern philosophy has a lot of value about just living in the moment and just existing as you are. You know, if you live in a modern, sort of fast-paced society where everything is scheduled and everything is on deadlines, days of the week, it's easy to get lost in this feeling like you have a certain amount of time and you have to get everything done that you want to get done in that time. But it's kind of a funny thing because, you know, what I always find is I'll have some big goal that I want to accomplish, and sometimes it might take me a while to accomplish it, and then I'll get to the end of that goal and I'll get it accomplished, and I might celebrate a little bit for maybe an hour or two, and then my mind is going, okay, what's next? So I'm not really enjoying what it is that I've obtained, that I've accomplished. And I think, you know, at some point we have to you have to step back from it all and realize that when you're working with that mindset, no matter how many goals you accomplish, there will always be another one to complete. Which is great in a way because it means that you'll never run out of things to do, but it can also be a very stressful and disorienting way to live, because many of us have goals that are impossible for all of us to achieve in the same way, like making a lot of money, for instance. There's a limited amount of money in existence, and it has a limited amount of value. So we can't, all of us, be super wealthy because there just isn't enough wealth to go around, so to speak. And in realizing this, I think this is really where the value of learning to exist in the moment comes in. Because all these material things that we say that we want and we believe in our hearts that we want, there are these things that are in the future. And often we're not aware of what we have now. value to be had in the things that we do have, and often a lot of value that we don't realize is there. I've run into this problem so many times in my life, despite being aware of it. And it can be very difficult to separate from the society that you live in that way, because everyone sort of functions on these schedules and deadlines and goals and completion and awards and so on. I find that I've read a lot of literature on things like gratefulness and being grateful, but I would sometimes get tripped up because I would look at it and I would think that being grateful was something I'm supposed to be, like it's a duty or another goal to fulfill. And it wasn't until I sort of had this revelation at one point. I suppose it maybe wasn't quite a revelation because I realized it kind of slowly, but I began to realize that it was never about the act of being grateful. It wasn't about making a list and saying, I'm grateful for this thing that I have. It was about reminding myself or helping myself to see what I have for what it is. And what sort of consistently helps me with that now is by looking at something that I have and sort of asking myself, what if I didn't have it? So, for example, I'm sitting in a room in an apartment, and I'm not a big fan of the outdoors. I know that. And I'm surrounded by these 4 well-constructed walls, and there's air conditioning. And I tell myself, that's not something that I was given at birth. I could be living out in the woods somewhere. I could be freezing or scalding hot because I don't have any air conditioning. I could be dealing with all manner of bugs, which I don't like dealing with. And just a simple thing like that can make me sort of stop and go, wow, this is a really amazing thing that I have these 4 walls, and my ancestors, not all of them had these luxuries. I mean, that's essentially what it is it's a luxury, and it helps protect me from the outdoors, the dangers of them, and I can go to sleep and I don't have to keep watch for wild animals. It's all kind of taken care of for me just by having this space. And so little things like that have helped me sort of be else, and I look around and realize the world that I'm living in and acknowledge the amazing parts of it. And I want to stress the point that it's not as if I have attained some sort of spiritual or mental milestone. It's just, I can do that, and it helps me. And, when you're in that state where you're just existing and you're just sort of looking at the things around you and acknowledging them, I think it's a very freeing state of mind because you start to move away from this idea of goals and time limits and accomplishments. And when you're in that state of mind, it's like the sort of stressful voices in your head, the stresses that are saying, oh, you have to do this thing, you have to do that thing, you have to worry about this or that. They eventually become silent because you aren't feeding into them. They just sort of do their thing and they tire out. And when you're in that state of mind, it just, in my case, one of the big things for me was realizing just how much time there actually is and how much we have of it. I mean, it's like the thing where when you don't want time to go fast, it does, and then when you do, it goes super slow. It's like if you sit in a room and you watch a clock move, not the digital clock, but the old, going around in a circle, and you just watch it tick, tick, tick. That the time moves by so slowly. And it's not because the clock is slowing down time or something. It's just you're aware of every single moment that is happening to you. And that's the sort of real time that we live in. And then we have this other version of time where it's sort of flying by, and that can be very enjoyable. I mean, there are some great activities you can do where time just zooms by and you come out of it, you're like, whoa, time, where did it go? But you feel good about it. You're happy about the experience that you had. So it's not as though you have to be aware of time every second of a clock ticking by. But I think when you're stressed and when you feel like time is running out or you're not getting done the things that you want to get done, it can be great to sort of find that clock and just watch it for a little bit. Whether it's actually looking at a clock or you're using meditation or even just sitting in a chair and staring at the wall for a moment. And when you are drawn back into that sort of normal speed, I think the stress tends to dissipate because you realize how much there actually is, how much there is going on, and you get pulled out of this mire of your head. imagination, but this can be very misleading, as I can say from experience, because your imagination is very inventive and it's never able to get the whole picture. It's never able to take into account all of the details that you would in real life. So it can be very misleading. It can also be a great creative tool when channeled properly, but it can really mess with your state of being and your health and push you over the edge. I think that's all I have to say for now on this subject. I hope this will be helpful to you. I hope you have a great day, great week, or better yet, I hope you have a great moment. Signing off.